Welcome everyone. My name is Chris Knight. I'm the director of the Open Aerial Imagery Association, and this is our Open Aerial Imagery Multi-Source Interpretation and Analysis seminar series. Before I introduce our association, I want to talk a little bit about this seminar series called Open Aerial Imagery Multi-Source Interpretation and Analysis, and pose a question which I hopefully answered afterwards, which is, why is our organization trying to get some information out in the world about how to interpret and analyze aerial imagery? So to answer that question, I am going to talk about the Open Aerial Imagery Association. So what is the Open Aerial Imagery Association? We are a Canadian not-for-profit organization, and our mission is to acquire and distribute free and open aerial imagery. We're an all-volunteer team of licensed airplane and RPAS pilots, and we fly aircraft and we capture aerial imagery. Pretty simple. All of the imagery that our organization captures is distributed free of charge, so money as in free money, I suppose, and openly. We make it accessible as widely as possible. In order to do that, we distribute all of our imagery under what's called a Creative Commons attribution license. Essentially, that means anybody who can access our imagery is able to use it just about any way that they would like to. A little bit about the Creative Commons. So the Creative Commons itself is a nonprofit organization, and their mission is to overcome legal obstacles to the sharing of knowledge and creativity to address the world's pressing challenges. It's a fairly broad goal. In essence, they produce a series of tools, software tools, legal tools such as licenses, in order to make it easy for individuals and groups and organizations to openly share their data and their information, their images, their academic papers, their text files, all that sort of stuff, in a way that encourages creativity and encourages different people to build upon the information that they've been receiving from others. Now, our association owns all of the underlying intellectual property, if you will, associated with our imagery, but by definition, we make all of our imagery available under the Creative Commons license, which means anybody can use, reuse, remix the imagery that we create. And why do we do that? We're inspired by these open movements. So open source for computer software, open data, you often see in relation to government institutions, open access in terms of open academic and educational materials. Our observation is that aerial imagery collections are often proprietary, they're expensive to license, and they're otherwise inaccessible for use and reuse. A lot of this imagery you can see using great tools like Google Earth and Bing Maps and whatnot. But once you want to start reusing that imagery, you run into a legal problem, a technical problem. So our mission at the OAIA is to remove those types of barriers by capturing collections of up-to-date aerial imagery and making them freely and openly available for everybody to use. We're all volunteers, so we're 100% volunteer organization. There are no paid positions. Essentially, we're a group of pilots for both airplanes and RPAS who like to fly airplanes and want to do a little bit of something different and give back by using the airplanes that we fly to capture aerial imagery and distribute them. We're a great mix of professional pilots, amateur pilots, people who fly, just airplanes, people who fly just the drones, the RPAS, and it's turned out to be a really good mix of people who can collaborate with one another and help contribute to our mission. Anybody can join the association, especially in Canada, because it's very easy to get your basic RPAS pilot's license. It is a condition of our association that we're a pilot organization, but somebody can go online, and I think it's $10 and 20 questions, and you can get your basic RPass license. And we'd love to have everybody on board. For pilots, it's rewarding. Very often you're engaged in your day-to-day piloting activities, at your company, and it's exciting and you like it, but you might want to do something a little different. You might want to fly a different type. If you're a fixed wing pilot, maybe you want to figure out what's going on with these remotely piloted aircraft systems, and vice versa. It's a great opportunity to get involved. We're all volunteers, and that's really at the core and the essence of our organization. Now, in terms of what we actually do at the association, our focus is on capturing and distributing raw aerial imagery for others to make use of. We don't do anything with the imagery. We don't process it, curate it, interpret, exploit, analyze, or otherwise make use of the imagery, other than making it all available, which is a good and a bad thing. If you access our imagery, you see it's just a big blast of lots and lots of frames of aerial imagery from various places. Our focus at the association is flying the aircraft and capturing the imagery, and by definition, all of the imagery we capture, we give away for free, openly. Our hope is anybody who can make use of this type of imagery will be able to do so in support of their own efforts, whatever they are. A little bit about how to access our imagery. And I should back up a little bit and say we're a very, very new association. We've been in existence for maybe about 6 months. We're just getting started. We're getting our pilots trained and up and flying. We've captured approximately 20,000 images right now, but we expect that number to explode once we have more pilots flying regularly. And in terms of the distribution of our imagery, we're at our infancy, if you will. To download our imagery, if you go to our website, openaerialimagery.org, and click on our imagery, there's a link to what we call the OAIA imagery browser. And it's a very, very simple web tool where you can browse a map with our imagery, zoom in, and find individual spots where we've taken imagery. You can double click on those spots and the image pops up, and you can download it and use it in any way that you want. As volunteers in our association, we're looking to develop this website, this web tool, to provide a number of additional features. And we can definitely use some help in adding the functionality, but we'd like to make it easy for you to download ad hoc imagery sets, search in different ways, isolate images in different geographic areas, and so on. We're also developing an API so that programmatically different organizations and users can download our imagery without going through the browser and hopefully suck it straight into your GIS application or your other tool or whatnot. These things are definitely on the way, and they're part of our commitment to supporting the Creative Commons open access principles with respect to our imagery. And the open access principles are content that is digital, online, free of charge, and free of most copyright and licensing restrictions. Again, that's at the core of our association's goals. Now, how can our images be used? What we capture, we don't know. We think it's limited only by the creativity of the people using our imagery. And we hope to be surprised by how our imagery is actually used out there in the world. We're excited by the possibility that people will use it in different ways that we haven't even thought of. Some thoughts of how we think our imagery can be used, however, would relate to supporting public safety organizations or perhaps news agencies. NGOs might have a use for this type of imagery. Artists and creative professionals, would be very welcome to use and incorporate this type of imagery into their works. And like I said, we hope to be surprised, and we're really looking forward to seeing how our imagery is used out in the wider world. I want to talk a little bit about an emerging challenge that we've noticed with our imagery. So on the left hand of the slide, you see our association. We capture and distribute raw imagery, essentially. On the right-hand side, a number of organizations who could make use of aerial imagery, such as Cristiano's Humanitarian OpenStreetMap team, the Open Aerial Map, Mapillary, you've heard mentioned, OpenStreetMap, of course, another organization, Radiant Earth. They do really interesting machine learning applications with respect to satellite and aerial imagery and other geospatial data. Many of those types of organizations really need as their starting point, geo-encoded or orthorectified imagery, mosaic imagery, those sorts of things, which creates a bit of a technical gap between what we do on the left-hand side of the slide and what they're doing on the right-hand of the slide. And to me, this is a really great opportunity for individuals, organizations, crowds, other groups to help bridge that technical gap, whether they're developing tools that can automatically do the processing between these types of organizations, or whether it's an individual just logging onto our website, downloading the image, and then uploading it to Open Aerial Map, and taking the steps to geo-rectify it and whatnot, mosaic it, and so on. There's a lot of opportunities here, and we as an association are really excited about capturing the imagery, and we're really excited about working with others, individuals, organizations, and whatnot, who can make use of our imagery and apply it in new and interesting ways. Now that's a brief introduction about our association. For more information, please visit our website, openaerialimagery.org. And if you're interested in membership or have any questions about that, please talk to Ashton at membership@openaerialimagery.org. Ashton Shepard is our membership officer, and he'd be very happy to talk to you about getting involved and whether you want to get involved as a pilot or just want to learn more about the association, please reach out to us. And so that brings me back to the original question I posed. Why are we involved in this interpretation and analysis, educational seminar? Like I said, NATO's provided some funding to help make it happen. We've been hosting it. To what purpose? Well, the real purpose is we would like to, get the word out about our association, get, people with this type of interest and this type of knowledge aware of the imagery that they can obtain from our association, and to open the dialogue and speak some more and see if there are different ways that we can interact and bridge that technical gap that we were talking about before.